What's new from Apple? There's the new iPhone 16 Pro, built for Apple Intelligence. And it comes with the all-new camera control, giving you an easier way to quickly access your camera tools. The new Apple Watch Series 10 has our biggest display and our thinnest design ever. And this? It's the sound of active noise cancellation, now available on one of 2 new AirPods 4 models. So quiet. Check out all of the new products and new features at apple.com. You can even buy yourself something new. See apple.com for product availability updates. Apple Intelligence coming this fall.
We get it. Distractions happen. That's why we designed the fully electric, full-sized Volvo EX90 with the latest technology to keep you and those around you safe. Its 2-sensor driver understanding system is designed to prevent distractions and help you stay focused. Reserve your Volvo EX90 today. Learn more at volvocars.com/US.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
What do you get when you combine a baseball field with a golf course? A diamond in the rough. How is a private eye like the dry cleaners? They both do other people's dirty work. What do you call a pair of banana peels on the floor? Slippers.
Whoops.
If you just read the bio for Dr. Steve, host of Weird Medicine on Sirius XM 103 and made popular by 2 really comedy shows, Opie and Anthony and Ron and Fez, you would have thought that this guy was a bit of a clown.
Why can't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to?
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valves, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent of Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve.
From the world-famous Cardiff Electric Network studios, it's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal, Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medical practitioner, gives me street cred with the wacko alternative medicine assholes. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And my partner in all things, Tacie. Hello, Tacie.
Hello.
And back from sabbatical, it's PA Lydia.
Hey, hey.
A 1-week sabbatical. Very nice. This is a show for people who had never listened to a medical show on the radio or the internet. You got a question you're embarrassed to take to a regular medical provider if you can't find an answer anywhere else. Give us a call, 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine or at DrScottWM. Are you on Twitter, PA Lydia?
I'm not on Twitter.
Okay, probably smart. Visit our website at drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything here with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on the show without talking it over with your healthcare provider. All right. Check out Dr. Scott's website at No, that's not right. At simplyherbals.net. Simplyherbals.net. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let him get his plugs in. Check out stuff.drsteve.com, stuff.drsteve.com, where you can scroll down and get absolutely the best gift for a guitar player possible, which is the Rode robotic guitar tuner. We've demonstrated on this show before. It's amazing. And it's under $200. Really, if you want something for under $200, but don't get them another pedal or something stupid that they'll never use. They will use this. Matter of fact, Brian May, they've got video of him saying, "Thanks for bloody coming out with this at the end of my career, you bastards." So check that out, stuff.drsteve.com. You can also scroll down and see the new Dr. Steve Bristol stool scale mug. So it's got all the different variations of stool from 1 to 7, and you can rate your stools while you're having your first cup of joe in the morning, and or you can put it in someone's stocking if you want to just see them go, what in the hell is this? And so check that out. Go to stuff.drsteve.com. Another stocking stuffer that's loads of fun at a White Elephant Christmas party, which we did at Tacie's friends who are all octogenarians, was to throw a couple of Flatus flutes in there. And they were like, what the hell is this? So it's the whistling butt plug. Go to flatusflute.com. We have nothing to do with it. Even though my face is all over the thing, I've got nothing to do with it, but it's funny, and so it's okay. Check out tweakedaudio.com. Offer code FLUID for 33% off. Your order. So if you buy 3 earbuds, which are the best earbuds for the price on the market and the best customer service anywhere, you buy 3, you get them for the price of 2. So check out tweakedaudio.com. Offer code FLUID. And then patreon.com/weirdmedicine. Who'd we have this last week, Tace? We're going to talk about him in a minute, but a big mystery guest.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a big deal. It was
That's
a big
pretty
deal
cool.
for us. And then if you want me to say, fluids to your mama or ho, ho, ho to your ho, for Christmas, I will say that basically anything you tell me to say, with a few exceptions. I'm not a high-pitch Eric, for God's sake. But do that at cameo.com/weirdmedicine. It's under $10. And really, it's fun. And we've had a couple of people that just ask me medical questions on there. I'm okay doing that, too, although you could just do that for free on Weird Medicine. But you're guaranteed to get an answer within 7 days on Cameo. But don't do it for that. Do it for fun. Let me say stupid stuff to your family, okay? Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Hello, Dr. Scott. How are things at simplyherbals.net going?
Oh, my God. Nasal sprays are going off the shelves like
Excellent.
crazy.
All right. Very good. Very
No,
good.
thank
Excellent
you.
Christmas
Yeah.
presents.
Excellent Christmas, yeah.
Yeah,
We're doing
stocking
well. Thank you.
stuffers. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. I do want to say a hearty, happy birthday to our friend Cardiff Electric, who is our network president.
And again, it's not his birthday.
No,
but you know whose birthday it is?
It actually is his birthday.
According to Facebook?
Yeah, it's Pete Davidson's birthday today.
right.
We are recording this on Pete Davidson's birthday. I don't want to dox him by giving out the actual date, but I guess everybody knows. It's November 16th.
If you look at Facebook, you know.
Okay, yeah. So happy birthday.
How old is he?
Happy birthday.
He would be, I don't know if he wants me to say. So, but he's getting close to a big one. Let me just put that. Let me just say
Cool.
that. Yeah,
He's a baby.
I was going to say, we used to be that age.
He's a good boy. And
long time
if you
ago.
are a fan of Pete or not a fan of Pete, or you want to, or whatever, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/weirdmedicine. We had Pete on our show last week. So we had him for a whole 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Which
That's a long time.
says something about either how busy he is or how bad his ADHD is. I'm not sure which, but yeah, we captured his attention for 10 minutes and then he was on his way. But it was a fun 10 minutes. And then we talked about him for 20 minutes. By the time the first time we met him. Anyway, let's get to our guest here. We have a guest today, and he has not been on the show. I look back since like show number 130 on the podcast side. And so we're at show number 450 something or 500 something like that on the podcast side. Anyway, he and we have a whole section of our website at drsteve.com dedicated to his number one subject, which is no sugar, no grains. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinnie Tortorich. Thank you. Hello, Vinnie. Are you there, my friend?
Hey, Steve. How's it going, man?
Doing great, man. I want everybody to check out your website at vinnietortorich.com. And it's like I said, it's been so long since we have talked that You have 3 movies out we're going to talk about. You've moved on a little bit from no sugar, no grains to talk about no seed oils. But for the people who don't remember you, give us a little bit of your bio as far, just the Reader's Digest version. You've trained a bunch of people in Hollywood to optimize their health and their bodies and all that kind of stuff. Give them just a little bit of your bona fide so we'll know who we're talking to.
Yeah, I have a degree in exercise physiology and nutrition, and I was a fitness trainer for 40 years, one of the first ones when people started doing that in the early 80s. And then by 1990, I was in Hollywood. So I spent the last 30 years of my career in Hollywood and quickly ended up working with a lot of celebrities that entire time. So you get the moniker of celebrity trainer. It doesn't matter how much education you have at that point.
Right.
If you work with the right star, you must know what you're talking about, which is BS.
Of course.
But I did that, and at some point, one of my bigwig clients convinced me to write a book. So the book Fitness Confidential came out about 10 years ago. And along with that, we started doing the podcast. Again, early podcaster. We've done now over 2,200 shows.
Oh, my goodness.
And yeah, that thing is still rocking and rolling.
How many a week are you doing?
And we do 5 a week.
Oh, let's see.
I do 5.
Full-time.
It's like a regular, it's like a regular show. It's just 5 a week.
Wow.
I tell you, fitness people are obsessed. I mean, and I'm sure that you have people that listen to every single one of your shows, too.
They are.
There are people who come up to me whenever I do talks or whatever. They tell me about my life. They know more about me than I know about me.
That's interesting. Yeah. An interesting experiment would be to do Vinnie Tortorich trivia and have some of your super fans on there. You'd be amazed at the shit they know.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of people that showed up to some events here that were telling me stuff about our lives that I'd completely forgotten about.
Yep.
It was like, hey, thanks for remembering. and Clint,
Steve,
you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
It's so weird that sometimes people will tell me they know the type of soap I bathe with.
That's a lot.
That's when people know that.
Yeah.
That's when you start to worry about your existence, and I think we've gone a bit too far.
Well, when you're doing five shows a week, you end up talking about everything. I mean, that's one thing Howard Stern said is, he back in the day when he was doing 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, you end up having to talk about every single aspect of your life because you got to fill that time. And this stuff slips out. And
so to speak.
Yeah. Yes. And there you go. But anyway, all right, man. Well, listen. We've got 2 people in the studio who desperately need to lose weight, 2 people who are at their perfect ideal body weight.
Yeah.
And that would be PA Lydia and Dr. Scott. And then Tacie and I have, COVID.
We let it go.
COVID fucked us up bad, dude.
We just let it go.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
It's
the
true to
alcohol.
everybody, yeah.
It's the alcohol.
Yeah. A lot of people did the alcohol during COVID. I think they just wanted to be alcoholics to begin with. They just used COVID
I'll
as
agree
a good
with that.
excuse.
Yeah.
People did that with ice cream too. It was like, well, it was COVID.
I did
of course,
that.
I was having ice cream.
I kind of did that too.
But Tacie was working out 4 or 5 hours a week, and she's one of the strongest women I've ever met. But like I said, both of us need to get back to our ideal body weight.
You have to do both, right? You have to work out and eat right. You can't.
Well, as I tell everybody, exercise, and listen to what I'm saying because I'm a fitness trainer. Exercise is a poor way to lose weight. Now, if you have your diet spot on, exercise can magnify the weight loss. But I've had no shortage of people who have told me, I trained for 20 weeks to run a marathon and successfully crossed the line heavier than when I started.
Yeah.
And that proves right there that exercise is not how you lose weight. And I spent my career telling people how to exercise. That's just not how you lose weight.
Yeah.
It's all sugars and grains. It's all processed foods. You just have to cut it out. I had a PDF on my website, VinnieTortorich.com, and it's been there. I've had it there for about 8 years, and it was free. And I've had over 300,000 people download that PDF and lose millions of pounds, and I'm not exaggerating, millions, for free.
Right.
And I just put a $10 charge on it about 3 months ago because I wanted, as a social experiment, if you charge something for something, people might take it more seriously. So now I'm actually charging for $10 for something that's probably worth more like $100.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's like that son of a bitch. Now I got to pay $10 for this thing.
Sorry, Steve. Can't help you, brother. You should have gotten it for the last 8 years.
Oh, I've got it. I think I copied it onto my website a long time ago. Actually, I'm not sure.
You better
we
check
go
it
You probably have it. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. It's been so long since I've been on the show because, you know, here's how crazy the world works. People say to me on Twitter, "Hey, man, have you ever heard of Dr. Steve?" I'm like, "Of course I have." We're he's been on my show. I've been on his show. We know each other.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is crazy. I'm posting the link right now on Twitter. If people want to go to Twitter, you know, at Weird Medicine, you can see it, or you can just go to VinnieTortorich.com. The link will be in the description, and we'll put it on the pad data on the SiriusXM side. But yeah, man. So listen. We haven't talked about this in a long time on this show. Talk a little bit about why grains particularly are an issue, because if you look at that USDA food pyramid, you're supposed to get 60% of your calories from grains. I mean, that Vinnie Tortorich must be crazy. Certainly the USDA couldn't have tried to slip some bullshit past us.
Well, look, they just don't know any better. They're taking their cues from the registered dietitians who, you know, most people don't know this, but the RDs, the registered dietitians, were started by a church group, the Seventh-day Adventist. And they started this in 1865. And then there was a young man that worked for the church named John Kellogg, Dr. Kellogg, who started the famous cereal company. C.W. Post was also part of that group.
I remember hearing
and they started pushing all of these grains. And when you think about what happened during the World War II, you know, we had a Great Depression. We were coming out of a Great Depression, and farms were too big to fail. So, you know, we subsidized grains, and that's when the government went, wait a minute, we like being in the grain business. We can barter worldwide with this stuff.
Right.
So we just made grains a priority, telling people breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Have your oatmeal. Eat your cereal. You know, we all grew up hearing that, but it was exactly the wrong message.
Yeah. Yeah, and
so
that's the part I've heard is that, you know, the government was pushing grain sales, and that was one of the reasons why they made that pyramid the way it was. And so tell us what the problem is. I have my hypothesis from an evolutionary standpoint why huge amounts of grains can be a problem for people. And it's not just fat. I mean, there are people that have issues with gluten, and gluten sensitivity has been demonstrated to be a real thing. We used to laugh at that. And celiac sprue and inflammatory issues. And so why are grains such a problem?
Well, for one, they're not the grains we used to have. You know, they've been GMO, they've been bastardized, they've been genetically modified 5 different ways. But on top of that, grains are worse than sugar. If you can even imagine that, grains are worse than sugar because sugar will give you a quick spike. Grains will give you a glycogen load. You know, so once you take grains in, they go into your stomach and they get released to your liver, and they keep releasing slowly over the next several hours, and you have to keep releasing insulin to cover that. And when that happens, you become insulin resistant, and then you're on 3 different medications, you know, Ozempic and metformin and everything else, trying to fix a problem we never had 30 years ago. Right? The more grains we eat, the more Ozempic and metformin. And by the way, if you ever see those commercials, they will tell you, hey, this will get you down to an A1C of 7. Guess what? You're still perfectly sick at 7.
Right.
So the drugs will not even get you out of type 2 diabetes.
Right. Yeah, I've cured people with type 2 diabetes through application of diet, but it's rare because getting people to actually do it, we're so ingrained, no pun intended, to eat this way that it's really hard to get people to actually comply with that, with the diet that will cure their diabetes. So, my evolutionary hypothesis, I mean, I'm interviewing you, so I should be letting you talk, but I like to think of how our ancestors, our distant ancestors, grew up in this, evolved into this environment. They had very little carbohydrates in their diet. They couldn't. Where were they going to get them from? And so maybe there were some berries every once in a while, or there'd be some, when the wheat or whatever, it wasn't wheat then, but grass or whatever, seeds, and they'd eat those and get something out of that. The body still needed carbohydrates, so it would store them very efficiently. Mm-hmm. And so when you found that, it was like, oh yeah, we got some carbohydrates. Let's go ahead and store it in the liver, store it in the muscle, make some fat tissue, because the lean times are coming.
Right.
And but now our bodies are still geared that way, but you can just go buy whatever you want. Agriculture, through agriculture and through classifying French fries as a vegetable and other things like that, we can just gorge on carbohydrates, and our body will continue to do what it was created or set up to do, which is to store those very efficiently. So, but anyway.
You're absolutely right. And just to add to that, we were never set up. Look, think about it. When you and I were kids, Steve, we had a season when there were apples, a season when there were strawberries, a season when there were watermelon.
Yep.
Now you can get all of these fruit year round because we ship them around the world.
True.
So there's a problem there too. Remember Vidalia onion season or Mackinac peach season, and that doesn't exist anymore. You get a peach in midwinter.
Yeah,
no problem.
That's interesting.
It's great.
Mm-hmm. And we think of fruit. Well, fruit's got to be good for you. But an overabundance of anything is a problem. So tell us a little bit about seed oils, and then, Vinny, tell us what are people supposed to do? What should they actually do about this? We've identified the problem. So I've asked you two completely different questions with terrible interview technique. So let me back up. Tell us about seed oils, and then we'll talk about what people should do.
Yeah, when I first started hearing about seed oils, from some of these doctors that were coming on my show 10, 11 years ago, I was like, what is this all about, right? I was always told that canola oil and safflower oil and all of this stuff is good for you, right?
Yeah.
All these poly or monounsaturated oils.
Yeah.
But when I started looking into it, and you start looking at the disease that comes along with that, because there's too many omega-6 to omega-3 combination, not to mention that to extract any of these oils, they have to cook them down so much, and I'm making this very simple, but there's chemical processes to make these oils happen. So they're so highly processed that literally what you're eating is akin to, like, you remember like the 3M machine oil that you would put in a sewing machine or a gun or whatever? Mm-hmm. That's the quality of the oil that they want us to eat. And all of these seed oils, they use them to stabilize all of the fast foods and all of the, shelf-stable foods. So they're everywhere. They're ubiquitous.
Dang it.
They're just everywhere. So, yeah, it's horrible.
I'm doing everything wrong.
What about
because we canola oil was sold for the longest time, and that was the good oil. Go ahead, Tacie. Yeah.
Avocado oil, is that considered a seed because it's got
just because it's got a seed in it?
A big ass.
I don't think they extracted
from
the seed.
Avocado oil is that's actually a fruit oil, so it's good. It's kind of like olive oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the problem with olive oil and avocado oil. You have to go out of your way to make sure that it's 100% pure, because check this out. Our government allows these oils to be cut up to 40% and still be called 100% pure oil. So you can Google this. There's something called the UC Davis olive oil study they put out every several years. There's a book that I'm not associated with called Extra Virginity that will teach you how to go and get the good stuff.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's just like, what is it? Tic Tacs say they're 0 calories, but it's just because the threshold is below what the government says you have to say is 0 calories. But if you eat a whole thing of that, it's about 300 calories or something. It's crazy. So, and in your grains, of course, there's a certain acceptable amount of grasshopper parts too. And Google that if you think I'm lying.
And insect parts in peanut butter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Parts
So
per billion.
I'm looking here, Vinny. It says here that industrial seed oils are highly reactive and unstable. They contain inflammatory linoleic acid, which is associated with heart disease, cancer, dementia, and other heart problems. So I'm going down right now, and when we get out of here, and throwing away the canola oil that I often cook with, just because it's a high smoke temperature oil. You can use it for that, but I'm done with it. I do have a big...
And by the way, Steve, that's another lie. They tell you that olive oil does not have a high smoke point. It does.
If it's
guess what?
real...
Butter has a high smoke point.
Yeah.
Lard has a high smoke point. Tallow has a high smoke point. Yeah. They lie about that. Canola oil is no better than any of those.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I do, we go to the Asian store to get our avocado oil because it's like half the price of when you go to the highfalutin place. And the olive oil people will tell you, the ones that make the real stuff will tell you that you can cook with olive oil. The reason the chefs say don't do it is because the olive oil that they're getting in those giant cans isn't the stuff that you can cook with. They can make salad dressing out of it, but they can't cook with it. But if you get the true, pressed, pure extra virgin olive oil, you can absolutely cook with it. So, well, that's wow. Every time I talk to you, I learn something. So, seriously, what should people do? What should they do? They go to your website, download the PDF for $10 that used to be free, and then what else should they do? But what should they really do?
Well, and look, if you want something else for free, the people that put my movies out, Gravitas Ventures, this just happened this week. They now have a section on YouTube, Gravitas. It's called Gravitas Documentary Channel on YouTube. They're offering my first 2 movies, Fat a Documentary and Fat a Documentary 2, for free. So you're going to have to watch ads, but you can watch it for free. But you got to watch a few ads while it's going on. So that's another way. Those 2 movies show you the history of how we ended up where we are. And once you understand that history, you can work backwards and fix yourself.
Well, I'm tweeting out the link to Fat a Documentary right now as well. So check out our Twitter at weirdmedicine.com if you want these links. And you could just go down through whenever you happen to be hearing this. So that's awesome, man. These movies, put me in one of your damn movies. I want to be in somebody's movie.
You'd be perfect.
Well, I'm doing a third one right now, but I'm not bringing any doctors into this one. I'm doing just an expose on something else. I'm not talking about it right now. But you know what? The next time I need doctors, you should be in my movies. I always use whoever's on hand, and it's always Eric Westman and those guys.
Yep.
I would love to have you in one of my movies.
Oh, I'd love to.
So, absolutely.
You could be anything.
The difference between
just be a doctor.
That's right. I could just be an extra.
Steve is always on hand for you.
And
he's multi-talented.
And unlike those guys, I'll just say whatever you tell me to say. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Tell us.
Steve is a whore. He'll say whatever I need him to say.
Fucking A. Fucking A.
As his wife, say yes to that.
Tell us about Beyond Impossible movie. Now, there's Beyond Meat and Impossible burgers. So does this have to do with that, or is this something completely different?
No, you hit the nail on the head. What happened there was when all that stuff started hitting the market, I started looking into it because I'm always at these food conferences and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, they're saying this is good for the environment, but they have to manufacture this. And then I started, the first things I started learning was the pieces and parts are manufactured in China, and so they're spewing stuff into the atmosphere there. and then they have to ship it to the United States where they put it together. So now you have more manufacturing, and the fact that you have to use a lot of dinosaur juice just to get it here.
Yeah.
And so as far as the environment is concerned, they're wasting a lot of energy, and they're putting a lot of CO2 carbons into the atmosphere. And then I started looking into how healthy this stuff was. And what I figured out was you're probably better off eating Oreo cookies for dinner than eating this stuff. And I'm not being funny.
Yeah,
by the way.
It's like the energy bars are basically candy bars.
Yeah.
Some of these things.
It would be nice if these were candy bars. That would be a step up. These things, you want to talk about seed oils and stuff that shouldn't go in your body, that's what's in here. It's worse than a candy bar. It's worse than drinking Coke and smoking cigarettes.
Wow. Yeah, I think a lot of people were not eating the Beyond Meat because, well, first off, it was a novelty. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meat, but it kind of does, it's got the consistency and it tastes pretty much like meat. We fooled our kids with the Impossible Burgers when they came out. But I think it's that for people who want to eat meat but don't want to be responsible for killing an animal. I think that's really where that comes from. And I will say that back in the day when I was in high school and dating, there was a Seventh-day Adventist food store, and I think it was in Brevard, North Carolina, and they sold, back then they had steaks that were made from sheets of pressed soy stuff. And I know it sounds terrible, but they looked like steaks. You could cook them like steaks. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I never did get a second date out of that one. But I was going to say I fooled my date that they were real, but maybe I wasn't so clever after all. But they were really actually not that bad. And I'm fine with the soy stuff and tofu from time to time, all that. I don't have a problem with it myself.
Isn't soy bad for some body types?
Soy is an abomination of a food.
Come on.
I'm sorry, Steve. I always
There's a billion people eat it every day.
Invite me on the show.
Yeah.
Soy is an abomination, and I want to
tell us
say
why,
about
because
the killing of animals.
Yeah.
In Beyond Impossible, I have no shortage of footage where we show combines chewing up rabbits, and they got to stop these combines every so many hours, and they pull out 5-gallon buckets worth of frogs.
Isn't that interesting?
That get caught up in these combines. And we're talking rats and frogs and snakes. Everything gets chewed up into these combines. And here's the other thing: a lot of these guys have to hire snipers to go out at night and kill wild hogs, using infrared rifles, stuff like snipers.
Yeah.
And they'll kill 3,000 pounds of meat per night.
That's
and
crazy.
It just all goes to waste because there's no one to give it to.
Because there's no one.
What do they do with that?
Right. Because they're making meatless things, so they can't eat it. So what are they? Oh, Jesus!
What about the estrogen level in soy? What do you have to say about that?
God damn it, Vinny! Now I'm going to learn something else, and it's gonna change how everything that I do. But that's okay. That's what we're here for. So yeah, talk about that.
The estrogen, the estrogen that we get, from food, soy will cause it. Some grains will cause it, but the biggest reason we have estrogen problems is because we eat everything and we drink from plastic. So if you have a bottle of water next to you in the studio, knock it off the table.
No, don't do that.
Get it from the tap the way you used to.
That's right.
But that's where we get most of our estrogen from just offloading.
What the
And
hell?
we breathe it in too.
Okay, estrogen from plastic. Now I got to look this up because this one, now, I mean, you're hitting on something I know a little bit about, which is just basically, I was an organic chemist before. Estrogen from plastic. Oh, are you talking about from BPAs?
BPAs, yeah, and parabens and everything else. And by the way, there's a great book on this written by a guy he's a good friend of mine. He's been on the show a half dozen times.
Yeah.
His name is Dr. Anthony J. And he wrote an incredible book years ago called Estrogeneration.
God damn it! Look at this.
And
Look at this.
he talks about how we're breathing the stuff in.
Okay, this is not some bullshit thing right here. This is from the National Library of Medicine, Environmental Health Perspectives from 2011. Most plastic products released estrogenic chemicals, a potential health problem that can be solved. Now, that was in 2011. I would hope that they would have figured this out since then. But they're talking about bisphenol A and all. God damn it, Vinny. I can't have you on my show anymore.
Phenol A, phenol B, and phenol C. It's all of them, Steve.
Yep.
So, and what happens is, what they do is they'll say phenol A is bad, right? So they'll get the chemist in the lab,
and then they'll
guys
change it
like
to phenol B, right?
And they'll say, come up with a phenol B and then a phenol C. I think they're on phenol F now. I'm not being funny.
Yeah, that's how you get around the DEA,
this is what
too.
I do. I keep up with this stuff. This is all I do. You know, I don't make this stuff up. I'm not that good to make this stuff up.
No. I'm, that's very interesting, isn't it? So there have to be plastics out there that don't have this shit in it. Because, you know, we used to make...
Impossible to make. It's impossible. Look, I remember the last time I had Dr. Anthony J. on the show.
Yeah.
I had one of those Nalgene bottles, you know, that I use when I climb mountains and everything else.
Yeah.
And, you know, the little triangle on the bottom, I said, look, it's got a number 7 in it. That's supposed to be the good one, right? He goes, it's as bad as all the rest.
Wow.
That was the last day I ever drank out of plastic.
Says the exact chemical composition of almost any commercially available plastic part is proprietary and not known. A single part may consist of 5 to 30 chemicals. Plastic item containing many parts may consist of greater than 100 chemicals, almost all of which can leach from the product, especially when stressed.
Would you say soy is as bad as plastic? or just eat soy and be okay with it,
and just don't eat it with plastic
just don't
fork.
eat it a lot? I mean, like tofu or...
You know, it's like you're asking me, should I smoke crack or should I smoke crank? Which one is better?
Yeah, well, which one is? I'm just kidding.
Again,
should I smoke cigarettes or smoke cigars? Which one is better?
Yeah.
You've really got me wanting a cigarette right now, but okay.
Soy products have been shown to cause cancer, and you just name it. It's soy products, it raises estrogen in your body.
It does. I know that.
I cannot... It's horrible. It's a horrible product. It shouldn't be legal.
Yeah, I wonder, I do know that the way soy is processed here is different than the way it is processed in Asia, and Dr. Scott can attest to that. And I as a matter of fact, I watched an Asian chef today on YouTube. Well, I didn't watch it. I was driving. I listened to him, but he said, listen, the tofu that you get in America, very different, and they process it differently. So, because, I mean, there's billions of people that eat soy every day as a staple of their diet, and they seem to do fine with it. So there is something about the way that we're processing it, I'm guessing. What do you think about that, Vinny?
Yeah, but, here's the deal. 92% of all soybeans grown worldwide, not in the United States, worldwide, 92% is owned by Monsanto. And Monsanto is the same group that puts out the product that doesn't. So, in other words, when they put their Agent Orange on it, but now they call it something else, when they put their Agent Orange on that soy, it doesn't die. But it'll kill all the weeds around it and all the other stuff around it.
Yeah.
Right. So 92% of all soy is grown by one company, by a global international company. So if you think you're getting better soy somewhere else in the world, good luck.
Okay.
It's not happening.
Okay.
Wow. Well, okay.
I'm always the bearer of bad news, man. I'm sorry.
We need
just trying to figure
End
out
of show.
Thanks for
yeah.
Now
Debbie Downer.
I'm just going to retire. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our last show.
Debbie Downer.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to have now. Okay, so I thought I knew something about the chemistry thing, and I was wrong about that. I'm going to, by God, I'm going to do a deep dive on this soy thing, and because that's so counterintuitive. I just got it. But I'm not saying just because it's counterintuitive doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Well, and the thing, I'm kind of like you in that regard, but you wonder if there are other things causing the cancers that the soy only has a little bit to do with. You know what I mean? So many people. I don't know. Depending on where you're living at the time, or
maybe fermented
what else
soy
you're eating, or I love tempeh. It's a smoked soy.
I know if you have PCOS.
I couldn't hear the question.
Oh, yeah, that's because Dr. Scott's only been doing this show for 15 years and he still doesn't talk into the microphone.
No, I was trying to run away after all the bad news.
I think the question I have is whether the BPA, with its like estrogenic effects, whether it actually binds to the estrogen receptor and like potentiates that activity within the cell.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
or whether
an
it's
question.
more of like a hormonal response in the body.
I don't know. We need to find out.
We'll research.
We're going to be doing deep dives on all this stuff for the next 6 weeks. So Vinny's brought up a bunch of stuff. Well, you have really gone beyond since the first time that you and I talked. Because back then it was just, no seeds, no nuts, don't eat those protein bars, this kind of stuff. This is fascinating stuff.
We were going to have tofu for dinner tonight.
I was gonna make fried tofu tonight, and I was gonna fry it in fucking canola oil. God damn it!
Sorry, Steve.
That's okay, man. That's okay. No. You're doing the good work. People, if nothing else, to get people like us too, who think they know stuff, to question, always be questioning this. Are we doing the right thing?
Absolutely.
I was taking nicotinamide riboside every day, and then I find this article yesterday that it potentiates breast cancer, and if you get breast cancer, it could potentiate metastatic disease. But what they were really looking at was nicotinamide levels inside the cells. So that doesn't necessarily mean if you're taking it as a supplement, it's going to cause that. But it did give me pause. So, we should always be questioning these things.
And you and I both started taking it, and I saw the same article yesterday, and we both started taking it because it's shown to help with melanomas.
Right.
So you wouldn't get melanomas.
Right.
Cancer. So.
Well, and, we're more likely to get melanoma than we are breast cancer.
Yeah, sure.
So, for dudes. But these are all things we have to constantly be searching for better data and more knowledge and all that stuff. And I think that part's great. So, yeah, man, we're gonna be doing. You've given us a lot to think about today. I got to make you shut up because if you say anything else, I'm just gonna jump off the cliff.
We really appreciate you, though.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
do
so
absolutely.
much.
We love Vinny.
No, and I appreciate you guys, and I do appreciate coming on. And Steve, you need to make an appearance on my show again. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you can just school me about all this stuff, all the things that I thought I knew. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
perfect.
But now, if you got some questions about death and dying, that I can help you with. So check this man out. He actually knows what the hell he's talking about. Check out our no sugar, no grain section at drsteve.com. I've had that up since the first time Vinny was on. And then check him out at VinnieTortorich.com. It's Vinnie, like VINNIE, TORTORICH.com. And then check out his new movie, Beyond Impossible, which I do want to see this. Mm-hmm. And this whole thing about the combines is messing with my head too.
Yeah, mine too.
We just don't think about these unintended sort of consequences of the way that we do things. We think that we're gonna. It's like the lady who had that was doing the electric car demonstration, and they didn't have a plug-in for it, and then they went and got a plug-in from inside the building, and they said, "Well, where does this electricity come from?" And she said, "Well, it comes from the wall." It's like, okay, where's the electricity generated? It turned out that it was all coal-fired, electrical plant. So, what are we doing? Yeah. So we're, even on simple levels like that, we're not thinking things all the way through. So, yeah, very interesting, man.
Well, Steve, it's even worse than that because, when I yell about electric cars all the time, it's like, not only do we have to burn coal and or diesel to fuel these cars, you also now have all this lithium. Number one, they're using slave labor to get this lithium. And when the battery is done, we have no idea
what to do with them,
how to get rid of them.
Right. Yeah, that's a problem. The solid-state battery I'm interested in. I should have less of that BS. It'll go 500 miles and on one charge, and then it'll go 5 minutes to charge it up. It's supposed to have less toxic crap in it. Toyota's working on it. We'll see. I'm interested in clean fusion myself. That's where I think that we need to go. But we are still decades away from that. We're always decades away from it. It almost seems like it's a conspiracy, but I'm not a conspiracy guy.
Let me tell you why. I've been saying for years we need to split atoms to get energy.
Yes, of course.
But the reason we're not going to do that is because in 1975 we had an alliteration where they said no nukes.
Yep.
And the hippies went with that, and the hippies are still saying that. And we need to get away from no nukes because it's the cleanest energy that we can possibly have.
Yes.
And no one's talking about it. It's the only thing we should be talking about.
Fusion will be even cleaner because its byproduct is basically heat and water, and we can utilize the heat. So that's the one I'm really interested in. Nuclear, your plutonium type stuff. There's some byproducts from that can be weaponized and things like that. But the thorium reactors, we should be absolutely exploring that. I totally agree. If you want to do something if you want to not put greenhouse gases into the environment, if that's your goal, then we should be moving toward nuclear. I absolutely agree. So something you and I agree on, or at least you're not destroying my worldview about it, put it that way. And it's not that we don't agree. You're just killing me with knowledge that I probably should have known something about before.
I'm the bearer of bad news.
No,
that's why I think...
Dude, if you're going to make us healthier, it's good.
Angriest.
Yeah. No, if you're going to make us healthier, it's good news.
It's good.
And then, he's the angriest, the angriest trainer or whatever.
I don't know. Mine's pretty angry, too.
I walked away from that moniker years ago because every time I did some kind of national show, they would go, "You don't seem angry."
Right.
It's like, no, I'm not. It's just,
Yeah,
so I walked away from that moniker.
Nobody wants to
Nobody
wants to go to an angry trainer anyway. Just get yelled at.
Yeah.
Tacie's trainer yells at her constantly. And then she hates going, but then,
I've gone to him for 10 years, and he's like, "Oh, you like that, don't you?"
Oh, my goodness.
That's how he yells at me. He's like, "Oh, yeah."
Oh, God.
Can I go?
Who's your trainer? Do I know him?
I don't know if you know him.
Famous trainer?
He is.
No, I don't think he's famous because of where we are.
He's nationally ranked, bodybuilding.
Yeah,
dude.
he.
I'll send you a thing.
I
about
very
him.
much not enjoy him. I like him as a friend, but cannot stand my appointments. It's been that way for a while.
In that case, stick with him because I was going to say, Fred Hahn is there in New York. He's an excellent trainer. There's some good trainers in New York.
Yeah.
Some impressive guys and women there. So
yeah. Well, if we were in New York, that would be helpful
We're
information.
a little bit in the holler.
We're in Tennessee. So.
Oh, you're in Tennessee.
Hillbillyville.
You were in New York.
Sirius XM is in New York, but we're in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
The internet, made it so that you don't have to be in the same place where you're broadcasting from anymore, as you well know. So
exactly.
All right, man.
Oh yeah.
You're the best. Always
Thank you.
enjoy it. It's been way too long. We got a knowledge bomb today. We really appreciate it, man. Vinnie Tortorich from VinnieTortorich.com. Check him out. His website, his movies, his books. You'll learn a lot, and really appreciate it, man. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, I'll talk
Bye.
soon. Okay,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor, you can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
We get it. Distractions happen. That's why we designed the fully electric, full-sized Volvo EX90 with the latest technology to keep you and those around you safe. Its two-sensor driver understanding system is designed to prevent distractions and help you stay focused. Reserve your Volvo EX90 today. Learn more at volvocars.com/US.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is,
"Thank you for calling. Please listen to your list of 46 possible service options."
which is why when you choose USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable. 24/7 online service for claims, access to roadside assistance, and more. All at the touch of a button. Start getting the service you deserve. Get a quote today. Ability to receive a quote depends on membership eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliate, San Antonio, Texas.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
What a good guy.
What a good guy.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess we're not having.
Oh, man. I really wanted that.
Oh, okay. So we'll do it one last time and then we got to get rid of all that.
Yeah,
shit.
don't waste it. I mean,
I do have avocado.
3,000 pigs died for that. I'm just
That's true. Yeah, we don't want to waste it. I'm not throwing it away.
That's what makes the tofu so
Snipers
good.
killed all.
Poor pigs.
You think you're doing something good.
I know.
Those wild pigs
Shit.
they're mean though.
Well, and then I find out recycling is, uses up more
essentially
resources
gave
than
up.
yeah. They don't even do it here anymore. We have the blue recycling thing, and you just put your trash in it
Yeah.
now. I was very disappointed by that. It always felt like I was doing something.
Right.
No, the cardboard we do, but I don't know. I think somebody's just making money off of that. Yeah, I'm just a mess right now. It's Vinny is has that effect. But anyway, all right. Do you have any? We've got a crap load of questions.
Let's do
I
questions.
did download a ton of your questions.
Do we have Tom?
I think so. Yeah, we have time to do a couple of them.
Cool.
Yeah, I told Vinny we'd do 15 minutes, and we ended up doing 44. So anyway, but all right.
Number one thing, don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
All right. Oh, here's one that has. Okay. Yeah, let's do this one.
Hey, Dr. Steve. It's Zippy from New Jersey. Just wondering if you could let me know why some pharmacies, healthcare practitioners, are requiring a 2-week interval between vaccinations, whether it's flu and COVID, flu and shingles, and others, like the 3-letter word pharmacies, we'll give them together. Okay? Thank you.
Yeah. So the CDC has an article out that says that the major changes to best practice guidelines for timing and spacing of immunobiologics include guidance for simultaneous vaccine in the context of risk for febrile seizures. So in kids, they're recommending that they separate some of these things because they used to, if you remember, our kid has a vaccine or needle phobia because a bunch of nurses sat down and held down his 4 limbs and then gave him a bunch of, just came at him with needles.
That happened to my daughter.
Yeah, but if you have a baby, so what are you supposed to do? Go in every 2 weeks for 3 months?
Well, yeah, I mean, yes and no. So there are schedules for these vaccines where, if you remember, we can go, I think, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, something like that. So they'll separate those out that way, and you don't want to give two live attenuated vaccines necessarily at the same time. Those are living vaccines, so they'll spread those out. But so this guy, though, is talking about flu vaccine and COVID vaccine at the same time. And so he's saying that the pharmacies tell him you've got to separate the two. The only reason to do that, in my opinion, is if they're worried about liability from one vaccine or the other. Because if you give the two together and you get myocarditis, or you give the two together and you get Guillain-Barré syndrome, you can't tell which one gave it to you.
Okay.
That is the only reason, because there's absolutely no reason not to co-administer these two other than that. Matter of fact, the CDC says giving more than one vaccine at a visit, called co-administration, common medical practice, and is recommended. And it says flu vaccines and COVID-19 vaccines can be given at the same time if you're due for both. As a matter of fact, they're coming out with a combination influenza and COVID-19 vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So when they do that, you're going to get them both at the same time. So these pharmacists, to my knowledge, are just making this up. But that would be the only reason why.
Well, that's how we did it.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we split it up.
Yep. And we just didn't want to get the, compound the adverse effects. So, and that was our choice, though.
Yes.
But if we had wanted to, they would have given them to us together. This guy's saying he's going to a pharmacy where they're telling him they won't do it. So, all right. So that's very interesting. But some of the childhood vaccines, some of the vaccines can cause fever, and then if the fever is high enough, it can cause febrile seizures. So they want to make sure that you're not compounding the risk. So some of those will be separated. All right. Here's a question from Peppermint Patty.
Hi, Dr. Steve. It's Peppermint Patty.
Hello.
Or Lovett.
Hello, Lovett.
This is Patreon. I have 3 questions, but I'm just going to leave one.
Okay.
I have something going on where all my muscles, especially in my shoulders and down to my back, become rock hard, just painfully hard. A little bit of a fever, can't keep my eyes open, but there is nothing and I've gone through this twice now, about 3 weeks apart. I'm not sure what this is or how to treat it. Any help or suggestions you could tell me, or definitive answers if one comes to you, which of course they come to your doctor. Silly me. Delete that last part. Control-Alt-Delete. Anyway, I ramble. I apologize.
No. It's good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, thank you. So, Dr. Scott, you got anything? At first, it sounded like she's having muscle spasms.
Yeah.
But then she said she's having fever with this.
Yeah, no, the first thing I was thinking is she had any injections or flu shots or any new medications or anything different recently. Would be my first question.
Have you heard of primary periodic paralysis? That's a thing where people get this cyclical form of paralysis, and it's caused by a distortion of their potassium channels.
Okay.
And that's a weird one.
Yeah, because she's got to give us a little more info than what she gave us, I think.
Yeah, she may need to come into the studio and let us really grill her on that one.
Makes me think about polymyalgia rheumatica.
Well,
classically with like the shoulder stiffness or
Did she say shoulder? Did she say shoulder?
I thought she started at the shoulder.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
So there are some
and
things.
a febrile.
Polymyalgia rheumatica is a mild, usually inflammatory disorder of the muscles. and causes muscle aches and pains. I had it, which was weird because it's usually older women that get it, but dudes can get it too. And it causes pain, particularly in the proximal, in other words, like closer to the body. Distal is farther away from the body. That'd be in fingers and toes. Proximal would be hips and shoulders and that kind of stuff. That's something, but usually, man, fever and then coming and going like that is interesting too, because it usually comes and stays.
I was going to say, because usually it lights in and sticks around for a while.
Yeah, I'm
not saying she's probably right.
Well, and if
Lydia's probably right.
What she needs, she may be, but what she needs to do is when it's happening. And if she has a fever,
if it really is a fever, it just feels like
go get seen right then.
Fever, low grade fever is.
If it's low grade. So go then, and then what they do is they do just a very simple blood test, and then the real test is to put you on low dose prednisone, and if it goes away, then you've basically made the diagnosis.
May I add to that too?
Yes, of course. You have 30 seconds.
If you don't have prednisone, possibly that curcumin, turmeric works a lot like a steroid. It does.
Fair enough.
Maybe a little safer.
Fair enough. I thought turmeric was more like a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, but I mean it is anti-inflammatory is what you're saying. Yeah.
Works a lot like pred.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Check that out. So, Patty, you have your marching orders. When it happens again, go get a sedimentation rate done. Let them put you on some prednisone, see if it gets better. All right. Hey, Scott, is she in the waiting room? Is Lovett in there?
I don't see her. No.
Okay. If anybody in the waiting room sees Lovett, let her know that we're looking for her. Paging Lovett. We have more questions for you. But absent of that, I'll send her a message.
Yeah.
And we can maybe talk to her on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good idea. We'll do the follow-up on Patreon. Patreon.com/weirdmedicine. And don't forget the holiday cameos coming. And one thing I want to let everybody know about, and I think we talked about this maybe at the beginning of the show, we have Weird Medicine Bristol stool scale mugs back in stock. Go to go to stuff.drsteve.com. Scroll down, you'll see it. You'll see a video of it, and then you can click on the PayPal site. And I think they're $21 plus $5 shipping. And we're going to eat the shipping. The shipping is way more than $5. But I can't just give them away. They were expensive.
It's just like my husband to eat everything.
Yeah, that's right. Because we love you guys.
Can't make money on anything.
No, we're not going to make money
Nothing
on this.
ever.
But there will be 36 people who will have the goofiest white elephant gift that they could give at one of those stupid.
And it will cost us money.
Yeah, that's okay. Oh, and I'll throw in a couple of
he'll throw
poker
in
chips
something
too.
Poker
for
chips.
you.
Yeah. Throw in some of the poker chips too.
I love those.
I sent one to
poker
somebody
chips.
and they
They're
said
cool.
that's the coolest calling card I've ever seen. I didn't
is
even think
cool.
about it that way. It really is it's a business card.
You get a free
really
business card with it.
Have you seen them?
No.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Well,
I'm just on my way to stuff.drsteve.com.
You give business cards with your stuff.
If she would order something from Simply Herbals,
I need to get that fatigue reprieve.
and say that she's a friend of Weird Medicine, she gets a little bling.
I was thinking, you know
That's
what?
so cool.
If you're stress less really works, I've got somebody that if it works for him, you might end up being huge. So I need some so I can send to him.
Yeah, I'll bring it. I'll have it here tomorrow.
All right, Bob,
or maybe tonight.
Bob Bobbington in the waiting room says that he took COVID and influenza vaccines together, and he is still hopping.
He's still kicking?
Still
alive
kicking.
and kicking.
Good for him.
That's a good thing, Bob Bobbington.
And then Principled Uncertainty says fusion is always a decade away. That's right. It's always a decade away. We're 10 years away from the tokamak actually creating more. They can do fusion. They just can't generate more heat than they put in it. You know, they get energy out, but it's always a net loss. So we've got to get where the stupid thing is generating more energy than we're putting into it. Now, they did have a sustained fusion reaction not too long ago. And by sustained, we mean like 0.8 of a second. So that's not enough. So we're just going to we got to keep working on it. But fusion is the thing.
Cool.
And when we have true fusion, like they did on Star Trek. So if you think about it, the Star Trek replicator was using fusion. They would use raw material, it could be hydrogen or something, and then they would fuse it together to make the cup and the Earl Grey tea and heat it up and the whole thing. I mean, it wasn't, they were using fusion.
But it all came from poop, right?
Well, it did in Discovery.
Yes.
They were using recycled shit to make apple pie.
Their food.
Well, there you go.
They even said shit, which made me laugh. They had one of the enemy women from the Emerald Chain was on there, and he's the head of Federation says, "Would you like a slice apple pie?" She's like, "Sure." And so she's eating it, and she says, "It's pretty good." And he said, "Yeah, we make it from our recycled shit." And she just looked at her fork and just laid it down. It was actually kind of a good moment. Anyway, all right. Y'all can go fuck yourselves.
I'm just revisiting the whole conservation of energy principle, right? Where it can neither be created nor destroyed. So
yes.
It's more about usable energy.
That's right. Well, right. So entropy is still a thing.
Yeah.
Entropy is where the whole universe eventually grinds down. There'll be that last black hole that gives off its last particle of Hawking radiation before it just disappears, and then the whole universe is all at the same temperature. Then that's the end. Assuming that there isn't the big rip from acceleration of the expansion of space to the point where it expands so quickly that it's actually ripping atoms apart. That would be another way for the universe to end.
I'll say we're from Vinny to Dr. Steve. It's all bad news.
Yeah. By the way, we're all going to die, and the universe is going to end someday, and all of this is meaningless.
All the
we'll be
Thanks,
dead
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll be back next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week.
All right. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, get some exercise. We will see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine. And I'm just going to go fuck myself.
Good for you.
There you go.